good morning. We just heave up anchor in Spanish Wells in the Bahamas, and now we are on our way to the Azores. So we decided to take the Gulf Stream route. So we will go now for about 130 miles west, then turn north, use the Gulf Stream to get as far north as possible, and then turn east, hopefully with westerly winds. So this route is about 400 miles longer, but hopefully if the Gulf current will push us with about 2 to 3 knots, it's definitely the faster one. So yeah, let's see how it goes.
We enjoyed lovely southwesterly winds, the Gulf Stream pushing us north with 2.5 knots extra. But this night we already got a taste of what the Gulf Stream actually turned out to be. For us, after this ocean crossing, being an ale for nasty sailing conditions despite the strong current pushing one north.
And did I already tell you about the fun lightning storm that we went through? The lightning bolts, they hit all around the boat. The one that was the worst was the one that really was so bright. For a moment I couldn't see anything because everything was white. Yeah, I was pissing my pants. I'm already starting to miss the stable trade winds and the more predictable winds. This is different stuff.
So blowing 6 before again, and we have a bit wind against current, but yeah, well, let's just have a look how it looks outside.
Now and then people ask us whether we don't feel scared and alone out there on the ocean sailing through days and nights. Of course, sailing conditions are often rough, especially on a small boat. On these bigger passages, you have to believe in your abilities, often being way beyond some of your personal comfort zones, especially lacking sleep. But personally, I would say you could feel more alone and scared in an anonymous city full of people running past each other. We trust Thula, we trust ourselves as a team, and company is always there, especially if you need it most. And it's the most beautiful company you can imagine, as it doesn't demand anything from you. What I can tell you though is that filming these scenes was super demanding. Me being totally exhausted after only a short while holding our GoPro taped to our boat hook against the pushing water masses, lying on my tummy on the bow, being showered with cold Atlantic water every few seconds. Brrr. But aren't these efforts sometimes so worth it?
Sollen wir das drin? Wo denn? Oben. Scheiße.
Something like day 7 today, or 6 on our Atlantic crossing. For 2 days now, and at least gonna stay for the next 2 days like that. So yeah, quite rough, I must say. Small boat conditions. But this is seaman's life now.
Tilts the boat to the side pretty much. Can't do anything, just lying downstairs, watching movies and waiting for the storm to pass.
This was our biggest mahi-mahi ever caught, measuring 1 meter and 20 centimeters in total. Too bad De Jong was not there. We would have loved to send a fishy drift goodie bag to them to share.
Wohl eine Stunde, ne?
So this is about where we are at the moment. This is the little patch I always download to get an overview of what is going on around us, as we are playing cat and mouse at the moment with the low and high pressure systems, trying to find the right way through. So today is Friday. Go back a few days, you can see what happened. We had pretty strong winds, so we headed down south quite a bit. So this is pretty much our route. It looks like a much bigger and longer turn here, but I think it's just this is just the way the map is shown. It is not that long. So we sailed around 36-37 degrees north, and then just above Bermuda we saw in the weather forecast that there was a low pressure system forming that I'm going to show you in a second. So we headed down like around 130 miles now. Yeah, so this low pressure system is gonna reach us tomorrow. So this was 2 days ago. So here you can already see weather system changing. Here's some ugly patches that start to form, with 47 knots in the middle. This is today, and there you can see something coming. So this will be tomorrow morning, 5 o'clock. Also here, some very dark patches forming. And go have a look in the middle. 49 knots, 53. Yeah, so this is gonna be Saturday. Continue some more. You can see they're gonna spread even further. Good that we're not up there anymore. And once they are through, this is when the main low is coming, running counterclockwise. And yeah, unfortunately we forgot to lengthen our predict wind prescription that we have. So we have a different kind of weather forecast, which is not as fancy now, but you can still see what is going on. Here you can see the height of knots. This is today, Friday, 9 o'clock, 3 o'clock at night, Saturday. And there you can see it coming. With more than 45 knots. As you can see, it's the core of the low pressure system passing by. We're hopefully gonna be somewhere here in the green spot, which is about 25 knots, a little higher. And then it's gonna pass through. And after the long tail, I hope we can do a northerly course again, directly to the Azores, as they are here, and we've pretty much gone down quite a bit. So let's keep our fingers crossed. Yeah, doing a good average of speed, 5.2 knots, sun is shining. Go have a look outside. Captain is preparing some lunch. Peeling potatoes. Mahi is drying. Sun is out. Waves have gone down. We're pretty high, huh, Elia? Last night? Yeah, now you can see the rest of the system passing by.
Okay, good, then go.
And then finally, we were able to take down the dry jib. to sew the rip on the top, glad it hadn't torn any further. This passage was different to our ocean crossings before. Not only did we experience almost collisions with 2 sailing yachts exactly crossing our course, one, to our astonishment, not even having someone on watch in the cockpit. It was obvious the crew had gone to sleep, just having a glimpse at the sail configuration. Crossing our course from starboard in super foggy weather, they had only put up their mainsail in the second reef. We blew our horn as loud as we could, and only then the lights in the cabin went on. We were able to prevent this collision. What we couldn't prevent, though, were collisions with a felt armada of hundreds, if not thousands, of other sailors following an unswerving course, tackling the roughest sea and wave conditions with no final destination. The so-called Portuguese man of war. The name man of war comes from the man of war, an 18th century sailing warship, and the animal's resemblance to the Portuguese version at full sail, constantly sailing close-hauled against the wind, using an enlarged float filled with carbon monoxide and air, giving it positive buoyancy, and using it as a sail. Besides the wind, it is also driven by currents and tides. The man of war is a floating marine community of hydrozoans found living at the surfaces of the world's oceans. Hydrozoans, in German Nesseltiere, are actually small, predatory animals related to jellyfish and corals. They travel for thousands of miles, dragging behind long tentacles that deliver a deadly venomous sting to fish, occasionally even to humans, although this is extremely rare. We decided to forego our usual obligatory jumps into the ocean during calm weather, as not even 5 minutes could pass by before another one had passed our boat. Their stings can cause severe pain to humans, leaving whip-like red welts on the skin that last for days after the initial sting. In bad cases, symptoms can be airway blockage, cardiac stress, fever, and shock. We felt no need to test that. It seemed as if we were experiencing a seasonal bloom here, resulting in mass sights of these creatures. It is believed that the region of origin of the Portuguese man of war is the North Atlantic subtropical gyre, also characteristic for the brown Saragossa seaweed that constantly got stuck behind our wind vane rudder, putting a lot of pressure on it, letting it steer zigzag courses. We already had to deal with this problem on our passage from Panama past Jamaica to reach the Bahamas. Around 10 days before reaching Barbados in 2019, we had been wondering the first time why the ocean was carpeted with this, letting us not catch one fish for days because the hook was always full of it. It's the first time we have experienced the sky and clouds mirroring in the bluest ocean waters so intensely, motoring for days through the notorious Azores high that was beginning to spread in size daily. Flatter than flat, not a whiff of wind. Thank God we had filled our diesel tank and jerry cans to the last bit. What was sky? What was ocean? Sometimes not easy to make out. Especially when deciding to fly our drone, almost losing it, as the only point to fix was our boat, not melting in the shadows of nature. As our drone batteries had quite some flying hours behind them, they were beginning to decharge themselves on their own. No favorable conditions when for the first time filming whales from above, with the battery of the remote control frantically beeping, beginning to die. Mad rushes and squeaks on board Thula in the quiet, flat calm. What a contradiction. As seen on the map we later saw in a dive school in Horta, sperm whales as well as blue, fin and sei whales have their breeding grounds around the Azores, which is why the likelihood of whale sights is pretty high here. Especially in these calm conditions, we saw many more blowhole fountains the following days. And then finally we had the wind back after around 1 week. Sunny and speedy days. Cloudy and squally days. Sight of big ship days. Creative galley days. Boah, sind die hübsch. Boah, krass. Das sind ja hübsche Tiere. dolphin days. Amazing sunset days. Finding drifting fender days. And then back to 0 wind days. After almost 1 month at sea again, we caught sight of something amazing we weren't really prepared for. Slowly visible ahead of us was the most beautiful volcanic cone belonging to the so-called Pico, just a channel's jump away from Fayal, our final destination.
Ja, so spitzer Kegel halt auf jeden Fall. Sieht schon explosiv aus.
After around 24 hours anchoring with our yellow quarantine flag in front of the marina in Horta, we were finally picked up for a COVID test they still demanded after being 4 weeks at sea. We could understand, as you never really know where a boat with its crew is really coming from, as people arriving here come from all over the Atlantic.
So, we are finally checked in here in Horta in the Azores and are here in the marina. We got a berth next to a French boat. So that's the famous wall where you paint your ship sign. And yeah, and we finally go ashore after 29 days at sea. And gonna check out Peter's sports bar today. Yay! That's where all the sailors go. This harbor is the 3rd most visited harbor by yachts in the world. So all the people who circumnavigate, they meet here, more or less.
Stay tuned for our Azores Island adventures, being stunned by the scenic landscapes this volcanic island archipelago in the middle of the Atlantic has to offer. To support our video work, sharing our sailing experiences with you, we are happy for your support in any way. Subscribe on our channel, leave us a thumbs up, leave us an interesting comment, or a little financial boost on our Patreon platform, where you have access to the newest episode before everyone else can see it. Thanks for watching and see you next time.